Ladies and gentlemen, today is the day. Finally, we have approached the draft, the 2025 NFL draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Months and months of mock drafts, speculation, player profiles, who is the best fit, what positions do we want the Buffalo Bills to completely stay away from, all gets answered today, tomorrow, and then also Saturday. The incoming 2025 draft class for Buffalo is, in my opinion, very important. And it's funny because I feel like you could go back and look at headlines for the past 7 to 8 drafts of Brandon Beane's tenure, and I'm sure you would find a headline that suggests the exact same title that you are tuning in for. That this is the most important draft of his career. This is legacy defining for Brandon Beane. And no, I'm not going to say that this was an overreaction. I genuinely believe this from the bottom of my heart for a variety of reasons, because I think the Buffalo Bills are in an interesting position as far as being the consistent contender that we have been, I would say, ever since 2020. And we're also beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And no, I'm not making this video because, as many of you know, I try and be as positive as possible with this franchise. I am regularly a Sean McDermott apologist. I am regularly a Brandon Beane defender of some of his draft selections in the past. But I look at the status of this roster currently prior to this draft class, and I see a couple of trends, right? Number one, we have Josh Allen is currently in his prime. But I'm going to ask you guys, how realistic is it to believe that Josh is going to be in his prime, 6 to 7 years from now, right? And while I still see Josh playing at a high level all the way until his high 30s, I think we're going to slowly but surely begin to see a regression as far as his ability to make plays with his legs, his ability to take hits when he needs to scramble away and get that first down and or push through for a tush-push touchdown, etc. And I think that part of his game is likely going to disappear entirely within the next 2 to 3 years. So we are in a position where we have a QB that is playing at the top of his level. He's coming off of an MVP season. And it's not even so much that we need to completely litter him with a bunch of star-studded supporting cast members on the offense. It has everything to do with the defensive side of the football. And we have been chatting about the positions that need to be addressed in the upcoming draft, right? I think we can all agree that a one-tech defensive tackle is very important. I think that we agree that a CB2 is very, very important. Same thing with safety, same thing with wide receiver, same thing with edge rusher. And these positions are not important because we need day one starters. We do need day one starters, right? Like, say that we can have a Howie Roseman-esque draft class and we just hit home runs all across the board at the positions of need, then wow, like the sky is the limit for this team. And while it appears to be a trend on this channel where I always say, oh, this is the year, finally the year where we bring home the hardware to Western New York, we are literally a couple of day one contributors on this damn team, plus some strategic depth pieces from having no team in this league be able to stop us. But it is equally important because out of all the positions that we truly need right now, they're all littered with expiring contracts here, right? So same thing with one tech defensive tackle. You have Daquan Jones, who I do not believe is going to be re-signed after this year. We only have one on the roster that's quality at starting. So I think it's very important to build from a depth perspective into the future with that one. So a defensive tackle is a must-hit position this year. Same thing with CB2, right? Need somebody from the future. And ideally, I would like to avoid having to hit free agency at any given point where we can actually have somebody on a rookie deal that could be an impact player for the next 2 to 3 years without having to worry about paying a bag to. Safety room is even more interesting because we only have one player that is going to be set to be on the roster that is under contract next year in 2026. So a safety is equally important. Like, not unless we want to, spend top dollar in free agency next year and or hit the draft again in hopes that a player can develop year one all the way through training camp and be a day one guy there. Same thing with edge rusher as well. Like, we only have Joey Bosa for a year. So we need to be able to make sure that we can hit all of these key positions. And I see the 2025 season being pushed forward to two possible scenarios. Number one, we have a Howie Roseman-esque type draft class. And I honestly do not see a single team stopping us because we have a couple of holes, but man, say that we put the right position groups in, some solid depth. I think this is the year. A final push in Highmark Stadium prior to moving over to the new establishment and raising it. That's what it is. And or the other scenario would be the Buffalo Bills continuously living in that absolute ceiling of making the AFC Championship, being sent home with disappointment, and us completely resetting and hoping for the best in the following NFL draft. We need another year of the 2022 draft. Don't allow yourself to be mistaken from that draft by itself, right? Like, yes, I understand that Kyer Elam was a reach. He was not a hit, but the rest of that draft class was absolutely a hit, right? Had James Cook, he had Khalil Shakir, he had Terrell Bernard, he had Christian Benford. We need a class like that. And what's very important to me is that we end up leveraging a lot of the deep talent and depth in the second, third, and fourth round, because there is quite a bit of talent on all of the positions that we need in this draft class right here. And many of us are sort of joking around and saying, oh man, we think Brandon Beane, he's going to keep us all the way up to midnight this evening, only to trade down into the second and not have a draft selection for us to celebrate this year. I'm not lying to you guys. Based off of position of need for me, and based off of how high I am on a lot of the second round talent and third round talent, I feel like it would almost benefit the Buffalo Bills significantly more to trade down and to get into the second round and somehow walk away with 3 second round picks and a third by leveraging that capital for any team that is desperate enough to trade into the first. As many of you know, like, I would be fine with Kenneth Grant, like, number one, but this is my take. Snack on this for a little bit and let me know your thoughts here. If, for example, Kenneth Grant and or Malachi Starks and or Eminwari are not the first round selection, or all of those guys are off of the board, trade down. That's where I'm at. I hate to be the Kenneth Grant or bust sort of guy in the first round of the NFL draft, but if we don't walk away with him, and that is the only one that I could say confidently at this point, trade down. Trade down into the second and leverage some of the quality players we can find in the second, because we can automatically address every single positional need if we were to finesse our way into having 3 second round picks and even a third round pick. We would walk away with, perhaps, in my opinion, one of the best draft classes we have had in quite some time. That's kind of where my mindset is on the morning of the NFL draft by itself. So that's where I'm at. Yes, this is not clickbait. This is something that I genuinely believe. This is a legacy-defining boom or bust sort of period for the Brandon Beane legacy and the Brandon Beane tenure. What exactly is he going to do about it? We're just going to have to find out here in a couple of hours. Now, folks, welcome to another edition of the Mafia Report. My name is Dan Mitchell, and I am a Buffalo Bills NFL content creator. I put out content every single day, at least 8 to 9 pieces of content spewed across the internet, across various platforms. If, for example, you're new here, please do me a favor, smash that like button. It is the easiest way to show some love of what we're doing over here on the channel. And when you subscribe as well, it is very important to turn on bell notifications so you never miss an opportunity to come join me during my live streams. Smashing that sort of bell notification is equally important this evening because your boy is going to be live reacting to the NFL draft, the entirety of the first round. A live play-by-play, if you will. I'm going to be having a rotation of different guests coming in across the Roundtable Sports Network, chatting up here and there, and just engaging with you guys. So I really hope that I could see each and every single one of you in here, at least at one point during the evening. This is the part of the show, folks, where I end up transitioning exclusively over to the live chat. I allow my live audience to take control of the conversation. So if you don't mind, if, for example, you have a question, please do me a favor and begin each question with a Q dash in the chat so I can easily decipher between that, a statement, or sometimes you guys like to have a habit of arguing amongst yourselves in the chat by itself. I try not to read that because I want to make sure that I give everybody a good experience for those that are listening, right, to the pre-record and or on audio platforms, Spotify and or Apple Podcasts. But let's get to the chat and knock it off. Anybody with a question, please begin it with a Q dash, and statements, I am just going to assume that this is where we are at. We have Chris716 saying, better not trade again, Chris. Well, here's the deal, right? Like each and every single year, like when it comes into the Buffalo Bills, at least for the past 4 to 5 years, we're a good football team, right? And a good football team is typically going to be drafting from 28 to 32. And there is very often, or very rarely, excuse me, first round graded players that fall past 25 each and every single year. Just because there's 32 selections in the first round of the NFL draft does not mean that that is a first round caliber, first round worthy type player. Unless you're a shit football team, you're probably not going to have a for sure can't miss sort of pick. We should all be lucky and happy that we are not a top 10 type team right now, because we all would be heartbroken because our team is absolute ass. That's not the case. Again, I'm going to have to go out and say this right now. And yes, I understand I put Malachi Starks and I put Emanwari in here as well. But here's my take. If the Buffalo Bills can't walk away with Kenneth Grant in the first round, then I want to trade down into the second. That's kind of where I'm at right now. That's kind of what I have slept on. It's my mindset. Because say that Grant is gone, like what are we going to do, right? So we take CB5 in the draft, right in the first round, or we take defensive tackle 5, or like we take like wide receiver like 4 that doesn't even fit our scheme, or like we take edge rusher 3 as far as ranks. Like, no, like, let's not do that. Like, let's go on ahead and let's say that we walk away with, say that we don't get Kenneth Grant. Why not trade down? Grab Siobhan Ravel with the first pick in the second. Then take that 56 pick and a 4th and move up into the middle of the second. Take Tyleik Williams or Darius Alexander as defensive tackle. And then with the final pick of the second round, we walk away with an Xavier Watts, right? That to me is a hell of a lot more attractive than us like reaching, for example, like a Maxwell Harrison at 30 or a Trey Amos at 30. And then maybe we trade back up right within the second round and we grab like a Landon Jackson, right? That first scenario is a hell of a lot more attractive to me when it comes into it. Let me get a question here from Carson. What's up? What is up? How would you feel about trading up with one of our seconds? I feel like we need a game wrecker on defense, not just another player. I feel like we will, because where it stands, I think once we acquired that pick from Minnesota, and assuming, of course, that they were going to be bad last year, and they weren't, surprise, surprise, I think we were kind of hoping that Minnesota was going to be like a well below 500 team where that second round pick would have been relatively higher in the second round of the NFL draft. Yeah. Yeah. I think regardless of what happens, I think the next time we pick in the second, like say, for example, we do walk away with a first round selection and we go into the second round, I think we're going to be picking somewhere around the 40s, like somewhere around the mid 40s, I would say. Like we'll probably leverage that 56th overall. We'll probably trade that and hop right around the 40s from there. And yes, I do think that the first two selections of this draft is going to be defense. Likely it's going to be defensive tackle / cornerback. We could just go out ahead and just sort of roll the dice on who we're going with. We'll see. Bills prioritize the defense while the Patriots prioritize the offense with a little bit of a boost to the defensive line. That's what I'm talking about. We have George F. How do you feel about Bishop and White starting? Listen, like when it comes into the Buffalo Bills, we typically always see players that take a significant second-year jump. Like we can be critical of Sean McDermott on several different characteristics, but developing secondary players is not something we can criticize him on. I do think that Cole Bishop is probably going to have a good season. I do have a feeling, barring, like, say that we walk away with Malachi Starks, maybe my mindset would change here. But say that we wait for a safety in like the 4th or the 5th round, I think the starting safety tandem is going to be Cole Bishop and Taylor Rapp, right? I think that's going to be the case. So I have a lot of faith in Cole Bishop. As far as Trey White, he had some quality film from Baltimore. A lot of Ravens fans wanted to re-sign him because he was playing very well. He's a full year recovered from his most recent injury. 30 years old, right? I don't necessarily think that he's going to be like all-pro Trey, or I don't think that he's going to be elite Trey White, but I think he's serviceable. And so I think that best case scenario, he is slightly better than Rasul Douglas was for us last year. Worst case scenario, he's slightly worse than Rasul Douglas. And to be honest with you, right on paper, as far as what Rasul Douglas brought to the team, really doesn't move the needle one way or the other for me. So I think Trey White's going to be a solid like placeholder for whoever we decide to draft that corner. Say that we walk away with Will Johnson somehow, right? Like say that we trade up to 21 or we trade up to 24 and we walk away with Will Johnson, right? A lot of hype around this corner. It doesn't matter. I still think Trey is going to start for the first 4 to 5 games because McDermott likes to make rookies take baby steps if possible. Hector has come in and said, Dan, with so many cornerback prospects in this draft, do you think any cornerback pick would win the CB1 position from Benford eventually? So I think that would be the goal, right? Because you want to establish competition within the rooms. And we did extend Benford, who has been playing very well for this team. He's a stud. Listen, man, do not sleep on Christian Benford. He is a top 5 corner in this league on several metrics, especially in preventing separation, DVOA. That's what I like to look at. I could give a shit about interceptions. I could give a shit. Like what I care about is advanced metrics. Can you limit the amount of separation that you can get from a wide variety of different wide receivers, wide variety of skill set? What is the opposing QB's QBR and passer rating against you when you were targeted? And whether or not that you're physical on the line. And he's fantastic. I don't think we would put ourselves in a position as far as CB1, right? Like I look at that position group and I just want to be tight all across the board. Solid defender on the outside, both on the perimeters, and our slot guy in Taron Johnson, who I think is an absolute dog. My thoughts exactly. Pez has come in. What do you think is going to happen with Cook? He's going to play this year. Yeah, he's going to play this year. He's going to have a hell of a season. And then next year, he's going to hit free agency, and some team's going to pay him like $15, $16 million a year. I don't think he'll be a Buffalo Bill in 2026, but I do think he'll be a Buffalo Bill in 2025. He'll probably miss out on mandatory minicamp. Like, he'll probably sit out on mandatory minicamp. Like, we'll see a shit ton of headlines being like, oh my God, it's all over with. But he'll ultimately end up showing the training camp, of course, reluctantly. But he 110% will be playing for the Buffalo Bills. Mikey has said this. Dan, you convinced me as a Grant hater. He's now the only DT I want in round one. Great convincing skills made. Mikey, dude, my guy, dude. It's Kenneth Grant or bust for me in the first round. If Kenneth Grant is not able to be selected in the first, trade down. Trade down. And get us a third round selection and get us an additional second round. I would be, for lack of a better term, creaming myself if we walked away with 3 second round picks and a third just by damn one move down to the first. I would be ecstatic, elated if that happened. Spidey Mudd has come in. I will be watching your stream to catch my first ever draft. I don't keep up with college, so never cared, but your videos have helped me learn a bit. Spidey Mudd, my guy. Dude, listen, man, I appreciate that. It's going to be a good time. Like, it's rough for me, folks, because I am normally asleep, lights out, like TV off at 9 p.m. EST. Well, no. Central. And so I forget that I'm in Central time. At 9 o'clock each and every single night. So rest be assured, your boy's probably going to have to squeeze in a nap at some point today so I can maintain the energy. Regardless, say, for example, that Brandon Beane does something to really excite me or really piss me off, I'm sure the adrenaline will get me through. Or say that I see one of my favorite prospects like go before the Buffalo Bills are about to select. I'm sure the adrenaline will start pumping through my veins, but rest be assured, this unk is typically in bed by 9 p.m. And so I wake up at 4:30 every single morning. I know I'm probably reminding several of you of your father. We have Chris has come in and said, damn it, I've been so busy at work. I keep missing the start of these shows. No problem, Chris. Listen, man, I sincerely appreciate that you rock with me at work, man. Several of you guys I know, like, sort of actually treat me as a radio station or as a podcast while you're going through your day to day. No problem at all, Chris, man. Hope you're having a great day at work. And I know that you're probably just as excited as I am for the draft this evening. And I really hope that you're able to join later tonight during my live play-by-play reaction. Dan, would you rather just have only 4 second-round picks than having more than 4? Dan, would you rather just have only 4 second-round picks than having more than 4? So we're talking about more than 4 across the entire board. Dude, if we have 3 second-round picks, I'm going to be feeling real damn good. Real damn good. Like my dream strategy, right? If Kenneth Grant is not on the board, right in the first, trade down 3 second-round picks, leverage 56 and one of our fourths to hop up right into the 40s. And we walk away with like a supporting cast, right? First pick for me would either be Tyleek Williams. Second pick in that second round would be like a Siobhan Ravel, right? Or say that it's Siobhan Ravel first, then I'd be fine with Darius Alexander next, right in the 40s. And then final pick right in the 60s, feed me Xavier Watts. If we see a lineup like that, bro, like, my God, someone ice my balls, because we be throbbing over here. We would be throbbing. Agreed, Richard. We have Danny Foster. This draft is going to be like the rest, another Beane draft when he picks 0 playmakers and all mediocre work in progress players, bank it. Donnie, I love you, man, but like, bro, like, you got to smile, fool. Like, you got to smile, my guy. Like, you are, dude, like, you are miserable, bro. Like, you are miserable. I love you, man. And I'm glad that you tune in, but I need to make you a happy person. Like that's what I got to do. I am dead set on one day you're going to wake up with a smile on your face. One day you're not going to be so pessimistic. I like reminding everybody that there are 32 teams in the NFL. There's 31 losers each and every single year. Donnie, I love you, man, but holy hell. Bro, come on, man. Stop being so fucking miserable, bro. Holy shit. Donnie, please walk away, jack off, and come back. You're going to feel better. Bill 716. Dan, I think of pressures from an edge like a hitter in baseball. Getting a single and double. Sure, you get on base, but if you don't score a run, what's the point on getting on base? That's a very interesting way to think about it. It's a very interesting way of thinking about it, man. Ward has come in. He says, Hugh, sounds like to me that you're starting to come around on Xavier Watts. Before you wanted Bowman. Look out. I'm starting to rub off on you. So I like Watts, right? So I liked Bowman a lot too, but like he's been more so of a fourth or fifth round selection for me, right? Like Watts, I wasn't particularly sure. Why I was against Watts was just because several people wanted him as like like an early second round pick for us, or like a mid round second round pick. Now a lot of mock drafts are coming in and suggesting that he's going to be selected toward the end of the second, which makes me feel a hell of a lot better, right? That's where I'm at. Okay, one room County Shack. Optimism is the fool's desire. Well, I mean, yeah, but like, I feel like everybody with that mindset more than likely lives a miserable life and so is afraid to try anything and is a settler. But that's just me. Like, that's just me. Like, honestly, man, like so I can probably credit a lot of my success, like, right, to just being blindly optimistic. Blindly optimistic. Like, having, like, fool's confidence. I don't know. It works. It works. We have Dexy Gaming. Dan, final mock, trade down. Woo. So we have Tyleek Williams. We have Oladejo. We have Andrew Makuba. We have Josh Farmer. We have Jacob Parrish, Chris Paul Jr. We have Kobe Bryant, and then Isaac Tesla, Willie Lampkin, Jackson Haas. Whew, I like it. I like it. If Sanders is available at 30 and Grant is gone, I'd be calling the Giants for their second and their third picks. If Sanders is available at 30 and Grant is gone, I would be calling Giants for second and third round picks. So would I. So would I leverage that if we were to be able to do it? Yeah. Beane struggles with first round talent. Second through sixth rounds, though, have been pretty solid. But like, then again, so I look at this entire situation and like most first rounders, like once you pick where the Buffalo Bills pick, like oftentimes those players don't even have like first round grades. Like those players don't even have first round grades. It's just how it is. We got Beth B coming in. However, Beane did nail the 2018 draft, and really that's the only one that really matters. Absolutely. Sup, Dan? They need to draft me. Yo, dude, me and you both, bro. Me and you both. Statement. And there is one elite pass rusher in this draft. If I were Beane, I would settle on my board. I'd settle on solidifying my spot as GM by trading for an elite pass rusher. It's Abdul Carter and or bust. Yeah, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. I feel like you're going to be very disappointed tonight, man, if that's the if that's the mentality. So just prepare to be pissed because there's no way that's happening. But I do agree with you that defense is wildly important. Wildly important. All right, we have Carvin Joseph has come in and said, dreams, Bills NFL for me. Trade up to select Will Johnson. Double dip on defensive tackle in the second round. Trade up in the third round to get a wide receiver like Jaden Higgins. Target safety in the fourth round and edge on the fifth. Man, we're going to see. We are going to see. Did Bob beat you up? It looks like he hit you in the forehead. Dude, Bob's pansy ass couldn't last 3 seconds in the ring with me. Bob's getting an ass beaten tonight, bro. I promise you that. All right, we have Ward Sampson. If Cleveland and the Giants don't go for a quarterback and Dart is still on the board, I believe we can trade with one of them to get their second and third so they get a fifth-year option on the Dart. Yeah, dude, listen, I could definitely see that coming to fruition. Zero questions asked here. And so then he's wasting his chips and betting his future on uncertainty. So, but then again, right? So there was a first round pick by the name of Trayvon Walker, right? A first overall. Was he a certain thing? I don't necessarily think that history agrees with you that just because a player is highly touted as the man, right? And does not mean that he's about to be that guy. Like you can find like different things. Like we have a game changer on this roster. It's Josh Allen. And like what we need is a quality supporting cast. And trust me, like say for example that for somehow so the rest of the NFL is stupid and so they allowed Abdul Carter to slide to 30 for sure. Sign me up. Zero questions asked, but I'm just trying to help you, man. I'm just trying to help you. Go ahead, Ryan Ack. And so I want that 6'5" receiver that ran a 4.3. I forgot bro's name, but my God, late round pick all day. I think you might be talking about Deontay Thornton, right? Ravel is a top talent. Would hate if Harrison is our pick and Ravel is still on the board. I love Ravel. Love Ravel. Zero questions asked. If Beane hits on two players like this year, we will be in good shape. We do not have a game changer on defense, so the goal is Super Bowl, and so the AC makes a difference. Mortgage the future. I disagree, but hey, man, we'll see how it plays out. Ryan, Deontay Thornton, that is precisely who we were talking about. And so I really want Ravel, and so I think that's why we brought Trady back, or trade, because we know Ravel won't be ready to start the season. He's my favorite corner because I think his upside is so insane, right? He tore his ACL last September. He likely won't be ready until about, I'd say, October, but I think Trey would be a solid placeholder at the position until he is ramped up and ready to go. If, for example, he rehabs appropriately, he's going to be a dog. Dude, he would have been the most highly touted corner in this draft if he was able to finish out his final season. And so, for the love of God, all right? Like one thing that like really irks me, right? Somebody on Twitter, so today was just like, oh, and so last time that we drafted from ECU, and so that was Zay Jones. Like, stop being a helmet scout. Like, don't be that. And then also, like, stop being a highlight scout as well. Like, highlight scouting and helmet scouting, the two biggest cardinal sins you've ever seen in their entire life. Like, what do these people do great at a high level? And Ravel just jumps off of the charts as far as his ability, his length, how he leverages his length. He's quality in zone. He's fast as hell. Great ball skills. Like he's like a dream for me when it comes into this. Drew, Dan, are you covering the draft live? Drew, yes, I am, my friend. I will be live a half hour before the draft, and I will be live reacting to the entirety of it this evening. Folks, it is very important that if you do not have your bell notifications turned on, I'm talking to everybody that is currently subscribed right now. Certainly tune in and pop in this evening as you will be getting my live reactions to every single player that is drafted. Statement. If Giants and or Browns do something stupid by going quarterback, I will laugh so hard when Abdul Carter falls to the Patriots, which unlikely happens. He's gone top 3. He's gone type 3. If we don't get Kenneth Grant, should I change fan bases? No, I wouldn't do that, man. Stick around the Buffalo Bills fan base, baby. Never leave the Mafia. So the Mafia always sticks together. But so I will tell you what, if Kenneth Grant is not the guy for us, if he is not there at 30, or if he is off the board by 21, say, for example, trade down. Trade down in the second. Don't reach on a player that has a second round grade just because you have a first round selection. That's sort of how it is. And so if people are upset that like we never like hit on the first round, it's because we never have a first round graded talent that's available by the time that it comes into it, right? So you look at some of like, so you look at some of our previous first round selections. So of course, minus Kyer Elam, right? Like, say for example, like you look at Greg Rousseau, right? Who I think like he's been good, right? But say that we were to draft him during the second round, I don't think that a lot of us would have been upset about it, right? You look at Dalton Kincaid, for example, right? If Dalton Kincaid was selected in the second round of the NFL draft, he would not be getting as much shit as he would have been right now. It's just the nature of the beast, folks. Think about all of our previous first round selections and ask yourself, would I be this critical of this guy if we grabbed him in the second round of the draft, or would we have been satisfied with their production? I feel like the answer would be a resounding yes. Like, yeah, like we're solid. Like that's second round production. I'm fine with it. It's just kind of how it is, man. It's just kind of how it is. Statement. And so I would be happy with Williams or Collins if we can't get Grant. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah, like me too. Like, so I want to double dip at defensive tackle, but as far as first selection, right at that position. So these are the names that I would be comfortable. So with us taking our first defensive tackle off of the board, right? Kenneth Grant is DT1 for me. Then DT2 would be Tyleik Williams. Then so the DT3 would be Darius Alexander. And the final one would be Alfred Collins. Those are the only 4 defensive tackles that I would feel comfortable in being the first defensive tackle we select. I want to double dip, and my double dip candidates are like a Joshua Farmer, a Deion Walker from Kentucky. But if either of those names are the first defensive tackle we select, I'm going to be sitting back and I'm going to be like, okay, what are we doing? Right? It's kind of nuanced, if you will. Drew Lahr is coming saying, Dan, and do you like Trey Amos or Emanwari better as a round 1 draft pick? I know it's a safety versus a corner, but who is the better grab? It's close. So y'all know that I'm a big Emanwari guy. It also had Malachi Starks in there too. I'll be honest with you. Say that it was between a Trey Amos and an Emanwari / Starks. I'd probably pick the safety over Trey Amos. Say that all was available and I had to pick one of them. And shout out to Spin for making me a believer in this. I'd probably go with Starks. Say that it was Emanwari and Amos, I'd probably go Emanwari. That's my thought right there. Say that I had to pick between those 3. Starks would be number 1, then Emanwari, then Trey Amos. But the likelihood of Starks and Emanwari falling, I suppose, is unlikely. Ward Sampton is saying, safety, I do believe we need to pick up a tight end. I am not confident with Davidson being our third. Yeah, but and so how many snaps and so did he realistically have, right, last year? Say that we pick one up, like, just for, like, some training camp purposes, then I hope that we end up targeting one in, like, the 5th or the 6th round and not anywhere but so above the 3rd. Why do you like Grant over Harmon? And so I really think he would shine in Buffalo. Yeah, Harmon has an issue tackling, but I really think he could be that dog on the line for us. So because I think it's redundant, right? Like he is going to excel like as a 3 tech, right? Like he's a 3 tech defensive tackle. And so I know people will be like, oh, but he can play 1 tech. I'm not in the business of, oh, but he can like type business. Like he is a true 1 tech defensive tackle. Grant is a true 1 tech defensive tackle. Like when it comes into 3 techs, we already have 2 on the roster. and we only have one tech that is quality at starting. And that one quality starting one tech defensive tackle is Daquan Jones, who is on an expiring contract in 2026. So I need a for sure thing at one tech. I need a for sure thing. I don't want an experiment. That's why I'm not so high on Harmon. I'm sure Harmon's going to be great in the NFL, but he's just not a scheme fit for me. That's kind of partially the reason why I'm like, because like 3 tech, you have Ed Oliver and then Dwayne Carter. 1 tech, you just have Daquan Jones. That's a quality starter rate, in my opinion. Give me Kenneth Grant, or give me Tyleik Williams, or give me Darius Alexander, or give me Alfred Collins. Like, give me the biggest body you could find that's going to draw double teams and be a dog in the run game, right? Because I feel like too often, we forget how hard our interior defensive line struggled with stopping the run last year, right? Like, say that we have both of our defensive tackles are technically like just like a pass rushing defensive tackle, like that solves nothing for us. Like, we need a big body and somebody that is like that. So short answer is that I'm not in the business of going for somebody that theoretically can transition. That's why I'm not so much of a Harmon guy for the Bills. It's not that I hate him. Solid player. Just doesn't make sense for what I think would be the best recipe for the Buffalo Bills. Question, Dan, I would like to know if the Bills may want to get another running back just in case, since it's a deep running back class and because of the Cook contract situation. So I think above like all else, we'll have an answer of what we're planning on doing with James Cook, right? We will have an answer. Say, for example, we do take a running back, then I think Buffalo is actually very interested in shipping him off. Because sort of on paper, like there would be no point for us to like grab a running back in the first 4 rounds because he would likely be on the practice squad. Why would we waste a draft pick on a player that we know has no chance of making the roster? Because like we're going to have 4 running backs. One of them is Reggie Gilliam, then Ray Davis, and then Ty Johnson, who just ended up signing a contract extension, and on paper, James Cook. So if the Bills' intention is, all right, yeah, like we're actually very interested in seeing if anybody wants to take James Cook off of our hands. If that's the case, then that gives us an answer of what Buffalo is wanting to do with him. But say, for example, that we don't go for a running back at all, I don't really see a point of taking a running back in the first 4 rounds when there's like virtually zero shot that he has a chance at making the roster. That's me. Dexy Gaming is coming. Dan, tell me this wouldn't be the funniest shit. And the Giants take Genty at 3. I mean, hey, dude, maybe they miss some Saquon Barkley action. Let me see. We have Alfred Collins would be great in the 2nd round as well. And I think we could look at Ezeruku at 30. I would be okay with Ezeruku too. I keep forgetting. Okay, Spuddy Munn has come in. Is there anything that they can do in the draft that won't allow the Rams to score 54 points and walk all over us? Damn. Damn. Pass rush, probably. Some solid pass rush. And some quality secondary depth as well. Let's see. Statement. And so as far as Cook, and they've already had negotiations, and they don't meet on the number, let him play his contract out, and if he improves his blocking, maybe we re-sign him. Beth B. LMAO, Tom Grossi, Packers fan of the year last year, said he met Genty and told him, if the Bears call, don't answer. Oh, my God. I just don't want New England to grab the Abdul Carter. So New England's going to be Will Campbell. I think they're going to select Will Campbell. That's going to be how it's going to work out. First 3 picks are going to be Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and then Abdul Carter. EJ has come in. Question, and do you play Madden or NCAA at all? Dude, I am trash at both of those games. I'm not going to lie to you. But I'd say back in the day I did, for sure. But I don't like even have a system right now. But yes, back in the day I did play a little bit, but I'm trash. Beth B said, yeah, I can see them taking Campbell too, Dan. Like, that's more than likely what it's going to be. Fifth selection. It's probably going to be Mason Graham. So I'd say for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 6th will probably be Ashton Genty. 7th, probably be Armand Membu. Yeah. That's my thought. And so I know the Patriots fan base has been more torn because of this draft. Of course, always. Thoughts on Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State? Look, solid 3rd round selection. Say that he could fall to us. I would be completely happy with it. We have Derek Jeffords has come in and said, and do you think Graham is a lock for 5 at the Jaguars? Yes. And so I think that Genty rumor is just smoke. It's going to be Mason Graham, I think, at 5. And so I think teams should take the physical freaks in the 1st round that you can't find anywhere else in the drafts. Where does Sanders fall to? He's going to go to Pittsburgh at 21. Yeah, he's going to go to Pittsburgh at 21. Adam, where do you think Shedeur falls to? Yeah, I think he's going to be a Steeler at 21. Oh, wow. We have a lot of people in here asking me about Shedeur Sanders, huh? And the hype on him is ridiculous. Statement. I spent $600 on PS5 when I found out Josh Allen was on the cover of Madden. What up, Corey? Happy draft, everybody. Hope all is well. We have Beth B has come in and said, I could see him doing well in Pittsburgh, Sanders. Yeah, look, when it comes into the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know that Tomlin is automatically a 9-win head coach. So it couldn't be much worse. Where do you think Pierce and Stewart lands? So Pierce for me is interesting, right? Because his measurables don't really suggest that he would be elite, but he was elite. It's crazy how he's been able to overcome his less than ideal size metrics, right? Stewart, I think, is going to be mid-20s. Pierce will probably be the 1st or 2nd pick right in the 2nd round, or the Philadelphia Eagles will select him. I think that's kind of where we're at. I'd say Pierce is probably going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. We have Richard Forbes. Teams run and pass on us, and our defensive line has not been good. Listen, I love Tomlin, but he is by far my favorite NFL coach. Dude, he's slept on, dude. He is a slept-on guy. Dan, congrats on 40,000. Well-earned and well-deserved. Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, that is right. I just recently crossed 40,000 subscribers. Pretty insane. Say, for example, you're new here and you haven't subscribed. Help me out, all right? Because I'm trying to get to 50,000 before the regular season. I feel like we can do that. And 100K before the end of the regular season. It's lofty goals over here, baby. But listen, I have a feeling it could happen. Albert's coming with a $5 donation. Thank you so much. Hey, Dan, I know you don't like Walter Nolan because of his size, but who do you think will help us better on the D-line? A Jordan Davis or a Jalen Carter? So it's not that I don't like Walter Nolan because of his size. It's just that I think he's a 3-tech, right? And we already have Ed Oliver. We already have Dwayne Carter. So I feel like a Walter Nolan and or a Derek Harmon would sort of be a pick that would be redundant. So we need a 1-tech guy, just a guy that stuffs the run and takes on double teams from the offensive line. That could open up Ed Oliver. That could open up Joey Bosa. That could open up Gregory Rousseau. It's not that I don't like him because of his size. It's just because I don't think that he's a scheme fit. Who do you think would help us better on the D-line? A Jordan Davis and or a Jalen Carter. Yeah, but here's the thing as well, right? So when it comes down into it, Ed has had his flashes, but Ed is not the kind of guy that elevates a defensive line. He's the kind of guy that's elevated. And that's typically like what you see when it comes into those pass rushing defensive tackles. You're only as good as the guy next to you for the most part, unless you're like an Aaron Donald, right? Which is hard to argue with. I honestly think all of our issues on the defensive line would be solved with a Kenneth Grant or with the Tyleek Williams. I'm that confident in that. Question: does Beane have the balls to mortgage the future and trade with his former assistant Joe Schoen 30, 56, and 62 and a 26 first? Too much for a generational pass rusher in Abdul Carter. Man, dude. My guy is setting himself up for disappointment. He's setting himself up for disappointment. So I'll be honest with you, I'd be actually very pissed off. And so if we did that, like, yeah, like an Abdul Carter is great. Like, that's cool. But like, what if he gets injured week 3? And so we didn't address our defensive tackle. We have no CB2. We have like no safety. We have no vertical sort of wide receiver. And like, we need to start the guys that we were to select right in the like 4th round, right? So like you're saying, like we give up our first and both of our seconds. We already don't have a 3rd round pick, and we give away a first in 2026. Pass. Hard pass. Shawoop is coming in saying, would anyone be upset about Trey Harris with one of our 2nd round picks? Say for example that you want another Keon Coleman, then sure, right? So with Trey Harris for me is kind of interesting because he runs a 4.56. So he's about as fast as Keon Coleman. He has the size of Keon Coleman. He has very average play speed. He has a below average route tree. He's basically another contested catch guy. And what Buffalo needs is somebody that is fast, somebody that has like a semi-decent route tree, like a different kind of wide receiver. So I feel like a Trey Harris would be a carbon copy of Keon Coleman. And that it's not a bad thing, but yeah, it's just not so the intangibles of things that I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Hey, Dan, go Bills. Happy draft day. Wyatt, hope all is well, brother. Hope all is well with you. Hello, Dan, go Bills. Happy draft day. We can now foresee the future. Technically, any player could get injured in the first week and be out for the year, period. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Question: if the New Jersey Giants take Carter, would you want to trade for Kayvon Thibodeau? No, because I know that he would probably cost a little bit. Like, what I want is for us to be able to build a scary ass team on rookie contracts. I'm kind of like over, I'd say, free agency this year. Like, just give me like young players on rookie deals that we can get 2 to 3 quality years of production and just have a machine. Thoughts on Nick Scorton? And so I feel like he's the Jared Verse of the draft. I would be okay with him too. Great defense will beat a great offense almost every time. You're right. Statement. Sorry, Dan. So I do think we draft a linebacker this year, not to replace anyone this season, but for a special teamer, because we lost a few special teamers. If we do draft a wide receiver, he must be able to play special teams and block. Yes. Thoughts on Nick Scorton? We already have that. I don't think we draft a linebacker this year, and not to replace anyone this season, but for special teams. Because, yeah, I mean, hey, it could indeed happen. It could indeed happen. But, folks, that's going to have to do it for another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. I sincerely appreciate all of you always coming in and showing love. Please do me a favor, smash that like button if you haven't had an opportunity of doing so already. And make sure you have those bell notifications turned on, folks, because I am about to be live for the entire first round of the NFL draft, giving you my raw reactions. All right? So do that. sound off in the comments. Let me know what's going on in your life, and I will tap back in with you guys a little later this afternoon. And certainly make sure to tune into Fourth and Forever. We have TD Finstock and Richie live at the draft right now for my company, Roundtable Sports. They are actually at the draft. They are covering the draft there. Several interviews with all the first rounders already. It's awesome. And so you can find all of those interviews on the Roundtable Sports socials. And yeah, we'll see you a bit later. Happy draft day. Make me a happy guy. See ya.